really appreciate you all having us on tonight. It's our 12th episode, I believe, of Crypto After Dark. We've had a great slate of episodes so far, some with some guests, gone over some hot topics in the crypto space. That's certainly going to be a similar theme tonight. I plan on talking about one of the more recent partnerships that's been really exciting from my perspective for several reasons, and that is the FEMA announced partnership with Avalanche and Deloitte. And so that's going to be the main theme of our show tonight. And so thank you all for joining. We're going to start by looking at some charts, and then we'll move into some of the other articles I've brought up on that topic and others as we're going forward here. So starting with charts here, let me get into the other screen here just to kind of look at Avalanche or AVAX as it trades as here. So you can see it has had quite the run up since its inception in 2019, I believe it was created. So some of those inception dates aren't available on this chart, but Avalanche has certainly had a very solid run up from just under $3 a token at its lowest point to $123 today. It's done a phenomenal job, and certainly I think partnerships like the ones we heard about today or recently certainly may be capping off some of that noise, right? The monthly RSI is starting to get high. I'm not saying that this price couldn't go higher, but I would suggest that from a buy the rumor, sell the news perspective, it could be running out of steam. Now, it could be is a super phenomenal terminology to use here. Certainly think that if you've gotten it under $2 or $3 a share, you're really enjoying these 100x or more profits. I believe that is 2 to 120. No, that's about 60x, 70, 50x maybe. So, whatever your return is there, great job. I wouldn't be surprised again if this was a sell the news event, especially if we're considering Bitcoin driving the market, and we've talked about Bitcoin's price targets, whether it's up here, or whether it stops here and goes down. Losing steam on Bitcoin is not going to be good for the overall marketplace, even if there is an altcoin run, simply because those runs will just be bound to end and follow Bitcoin back down and through the next bear cycle. So that's a kind of a look at Avalanche and Bitcoin there. We're going to look at crypto.com as well. Still going. It's at 89 cents. I think it's probably going to hit $1 or get beyond $1. We talked about this one for a while. I mean, look at it down here in a penny at February 2019. That is just incredible. Retested 2 cents here, retested 6 cents here, and it's certainly just taken off. So congrats to all of the CRO longs. This is a really beautiful chart, and I think it's probably going to keep going, at least for maybe a couple more days, maybe end out this monthly candle, and sort of stretch out into December's monthly candle. But this has been awesome. The partnerships have been there. All of the things that we've been seeing and hearing about in the marketplace are coming to fruition, and they've certainly recaptured, tenfold what they spent on the Staples Center deal to claim that as crypto.com arena. So that's really cool to see as well. So those are a look at a couple coins. What else should we look at tonight? Let's go percentage gains here. Crypto.com up. Wilder World, so the metaverses are still doing really well. Axie Infinity having another good day. Engine doing well. Theta and T Fuel doing well today as well. Most of the other coins are just doing steady at this point. XRP seems to be holding its line here from these lows down here in December and January of 2020. So we'll see if it can hold that, or if it may retest this 75-80 cent region, so be it. But I think it's still pretty safe for the long-term play, and we certainly want to be participating when this lawsuit ends. VeChain doing well today, and then some of our red ones down here. Shiba still not doing very well. This chart does not look good. It looks ready for this 3500 region here, and that's where it broke out of. It's very clean, so I wouldn't be surprised. This is very clean. It could take another week to get down here to 32,800, which that level is, but I don't see why it wouldn't. So that's kind of a look at, and then Avalanche we're talking about today is actually down. So that sell the news event may be coming into play, but hopefully it can have another stretch or two. But we're still going to talk about it either way. So let's sort of move into some of the briefings of today's topics and go over a number of different things related to this specific partnership. Try not to get too specific because I do think it holds volumes throughout the rest of the marketplace. But in general, we'll start with ecosystems again. So we usually talk about ecosystem charts here. Don't like that one because I can't see the names. Which one was I looking at earlier? I think I was looking at one of these. So here's a glance at this is a glance at some of the partners in their ecosystem across some of their spaces here. So from an Oracle perspective, you can see Chainlink here. They've partnered with a number of ecosystems, so that's been interesting to see. Here's all of the DeFi spaces that are partied up with Avalanche, tooling and decentralized apps here, NFTs and gamings. Partnering with Avalanche already, and then some storage, privacy, and DAO areas here as well. And then here's the wallets that they've been partnering with. So I like to just bring up the ecosystem to for those watching, if you are invested in any of these other projects, dApps, NFTs, whatever, you may find Avalanche more attractive from that perspective. We're going to go over a couple other things that really have caught my eye with Avalanche as well. And then going over to CoinMarketCap before we get further, Avalanche is sitting at number 11 today with a 27 billion market cap and almost 2 billion trading volume in the last 24 hours, which is really big. The circulating supply is also really attractive. There's only 223 million of them, so certainly that's not very many in comparison to some of the other projects out there. So that's something cool as well. So going back over to Avalanche's ecosystem, there's another one here I was going to look at. So this is just another glance at it from a different perspective. I think this one's a little bit less sophisticated, but again, some of the more popular crypto projects, DeFi networks, apps, wallets, etc., that are partnered with Avalanche here. Okay, so scrolling up here on Avalanche's website, I like to go through the websites. Blazingly fast, low cost, and eco-friendly. Avalanche is the fastest smart contracts platform in the blockchain industry as measured by time to finality, and has the most validators securing its activity of any proof of stake protocol. So that's huge to me, because we've been talking about XRP speeds here, and we can see this old chart I brought up that's comparing it to some of the other Genesis coins. 3 seconds, fractions of a penny here, and a scalability of 1,500 transactions per second. And if we go back to Avalanche, you scroll down on their main website, comparing to other blockchains, it's comparing to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot. Polkadot also can do 1,500 transactions per second, according to this XRP chart. And then, even further, Avalanche is saying we can do 4,500 transactions per second, and we can do them in less than 2 seconds as well. So that's huge. I wasn't under the impression that anything was faster than XRP, but obviously Avalanche is certainly digressing that they disagree here. And it checks a lot of boxes, right? And so that was one thing that stuck out to me when I was looking at Avalanche's website is it's powerful. So open programmable smart contracts platform for decentralized applications. Build fast, low-cost, Solidity-compatible dApps. Launch Ethereum dApps that confirm transactions instantly and process thousands of transactions per second, far beyond any decentralized platform today. Launch customized blockchains, private and public, and scale to millions of validators with minimal hardware. Now, the one thing to point out here is that they're not touting any centralization or central bank partnerships or anything from the existing banking community. And that's one of the big differences from XRP and Avalanche that sort of meets the eye, but certainly very interesting as well. And again, here's some of the partnerships they're touting as well: the Graph, Chainlink, Securitize, and then Avalanche is Solidity compatible. All of your favorite tools like Remix, Truffle, and Tenderly work out of the box. Lowest cost to deploy contracts. They're flexible, composable virtual machines, and easily transfer existing Ethereum assets. So, more risks to Ethereum as well. These projects that are cheaper and more scalable and faster are going to continue to threaten Ethereum, even though it's certainly been the more popular chain or ledger system to attract NFTs, new coins, new ICOs, etc. But I do think Avalanche is certainly going to continue to challenge Ethereum as well, if it's going to be just as flexible as it prescribes. All right. So moving on here from AVAX network to the ecosystem here. So this is a look further into some of the ecosystem partners that we talked about earlier. And so here's 5 things you can do on Avalanche now: trade on a decentralized exchange, use a yield optimizer, manage your portfolio, borrow or lend, and then buy an NFT. So these are all things that you can do with Avalanche so far, according to their website. If you click this build button, you can launch your Ethereum dApps here, run a validator, mint a token, integrate an exchange, and look at some developer documentation as well. So it's certainly something that seems very scalable, seems very friendly for the open market, something that could be attractive for new projects in the future or businesses that are looking to work with some of this scalability. And we're going to talk about that more actually right now here in just a second. So a couple of years ago, November 18th, 2019, so 2 years ago exactly, the FEMA Advisory Board proposed blockchain speeds could help their disaster dividend payouts. So essentially what happens right now is when a country or city, or not a country, when a state, city, area that is qualified to submit an application, they have to apply for disaster relief. And it says the fastest way to apply is through disasterassistance.gov. You can also apply by calling 1-800-621-3362. So imagine like New Orleans floods, good example in 2005. FEMA did a terrible job getting there on time. But you're pretty much have lost everything, and you're calling this government assistance hotline to take care of things. And we mic back. Okay. Sometimes when I move this thing, I end up unplugging it. So, but anyway. So, and at today's rate, it can take up to 10 days after your inspection before your claim is approved or denied. So that's like a super long time. You wouldn't want to be waiting 10 days to be like, yeah, our whole city flooded. Can you, give us some money? So FEMA is basically like, yeah, we need to improve this. If blockchain is going to be so fast, we are going to argue here that it could improve the speed of our payouts that our communities are relying on in the wake of our natural disasters. They're also paying taxes on it. America's FEMA is considering a blockchain registry to speed up disaster relief payments. The proposal by America's disaster response mitigators comes via draft text of the National Advisory Council's November report published on Monday. In many disasters, such as Hurricanes Maria in Puerto Rico or Harvey in Texas, affected communities may lose the type of information needed to file a claim, such as policy documents, land ownership records, and personal identification, among others. Wow. So not only is it just for the application and the response, but they're also going to be using this for a registry of information needed to submit those applications. That's a really good point. Like, how do you submit things to FEMA when all of your local government's documents and the things that they need to complete that application could be exposed or not available. So in this draft report, the NAC and FEMA should pursue blockchain solutions for disaster relief because of the advantage of maintaining records in multiple locations. Because of decentralization, a blockchain solution would save important information across many servers, effectively neutralizing the threat of a single point of failure that one flood could inflict in terms of damage from a major storm if all the data were kept in one physical location. Like, so true. So they saw that blockchain solutions could be helpful for this early, and that's really interesting because in 2019, while the space was growing, it was still very much considered a scam, especially in the retail space. Certainly not in the corporate or the government space. They know what's going on, but I find it interesting that they called it out here, given that the maturity of the space in that time. So moving forward here, okay, accept. So Deloitte, okay, when was this? November 16th, so like last week. Deloitte announces strategic alliance with AVAX to use blockchain to improve state and local government's recovery from natural disasters and public health emergencies. So Deloitte has performed with AVAX, blah, 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 to help state and local governments easily demonstrate their eligibility for federal emergency funding. Developed with the insight of the first responders, public works. Here's the Avalanche blockchain as well. Sorry about that. Developed with the input and insight of first responders, public works departments, finance authorities, and grant-making agencies, the new Close-As-You-Go platform helps state and local governments officials simplify and streamline disaster reimbursement applications to the FEMA. When disaster strikes a community, state and local officials must act swiftly and deliberately to respond, said Alex Hazley, principal at Deloitte & Touche, and Deloitte's Government and Public Services Crisis Management Portfolio Leader. And we're going to talk more about Deloitte in a second. So our new Close-As-You-Go platform can play a critical role in helping these leaders be prepared to aggregate and validate the documentation necessary to demonstrate eligibility for funding and reduce the risk of adverse audit findings down the road. So it looks like we have a platform here that's going to be established on Avalanche's blockchain. So Deloitte is going to be using Avalanche's blockchain as that build as you go to partner with FEMA to manage these databases on their behalf for state and local governments so that when there are disasters, they can get their funds more quickly. And, you know, we live in a society, this is why we pay taxes, and if we're going to go through this, we should certainly be more efficient about it. And I really like this move. You know, as libertarian as I may be, I feel like this is a great move, and it's really transparent for FEMA and, you know, any federal administration that's managing or foreheading this project, whether it's this administration or the next, right? And so this is really cool to see, from my opinion. So to talk a little bit more about Deloitte, for those of you who do not know about Deloitte, Deloitte is one of the big four accounting firms in the United States right now. And anytime we see partnerships with Deloitte or PwC or KPMG or Ernst & Young or any other big names out there in the space right now, Accenture, Booz Allen Hamilton, those are things that we should be paying attention to. These are big players in the space. Their clients are Fortune 1500, Fortune 500, Fortune 10, and they want fast and efficient solutions, and they're relying on firms like Deloitte to bring them together. So Deloitte originally was founded in, I believe, like 1845 in London. I don't know why it says 1893 here. But this sort of goes through Deloitte's journey here and some of their business history, mergers, acquisitions, etc. Today they are Deloitte & Touche. Recognized its business to better align itself with the manner in which businesses is conducted. So they named themselves Deloitte LLP in 2000 sometime. It currently has 4 subsidiaries that provide a variety of services: Deloitte & Touche LLP, Deloitte Consulting, Deloitte Financial Advisory Services, and Deloitte Tax. So the financial advisory services is going to do a lot of your audits, your technical accounting, stuff like that. And then they have other consulting wings, a tax wing, and etc. As the Deloitte US firms move forward, they continue to establish themselves as the employers of choice in their professions. The Deloitte US firms have a unique internal environment that allows the organizations to deliver high quality services to today's leading companies and tomorrow's. So I think I should also pull up some Deloitte memes because they're pretty funny. Yeah, I work at Deloitte and I have a social life. Deloitte will find you and Deloitte will kill you. Not sure if douchebagger works at Deloitte. Welcome to Deloitte, where everything's a top priority and the answers don't matter. Another Deloitte dev, anyone. So, Deloitte's hilarious. Even the people that work there like to share these jokes. So yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, so that's the background of Deloitte. We're super excited for Avalanche's partnership with Deloitte. Deloitte also has their US Blockchain Lab. So they opened up this practice, I guess, a year or two ago. I'm not. So they talked about here, Deloitte's Blockchain Labs. Blockchain solutions are evolving to create innovative business models and disrupt traditional ones in virtually every industry around the world. But capturing the evolving blockchain momentum requires a shared understanding of each organization's own blockchain journey. Deloitte Blockchain Labs jumpstart the blockchain journey by helping businesses prioritize initiatives, manage opportunities, and address the pain points of blockchain adoption and maturity. So they've released this little, probably a sales pitch here for their customers. Deloitte's Blockchain Labs cover a core set of topics that resonate across industries and domains, with each lab customized to meet the organization's specific opportunities, risks, and blockchain maturity. So they've got Blockchain 101, industry issues and blockchain use cases, tokenization, disruption or opportunity, making blockchain real, and more. And going through looking at what they're touting here and what they're explaining to the corporate offices, I was super surprised. And I know I wasn't privy to any information, but I used to work for a Fortune 100 corporate office, and I was always so curious. I was trying to dig in with the Treasury Department, like, hey, what are we doing here? Are we implementing anything behind the scenes? Or are banks implementing anything behind the scenes? Are we interested in this? Because we have this treasury function. We're spending a lot of money on treasury personnel, and some of these things can reduce currency risk, can reduce transaction concerns with the banks, can reduce audit risk, can reduce a lot of different things. And so, yeah, they certainly do. Yeah, the beer guy here says, I think they get what crypto is capable of, certainly. And they've been touting that with their customers. It makes me just as excited as PwC utilizing VeChain's technology in their partnerships. It's like, hey, any customer that asks about blockchain, that's going to be their lead. And they're going to have this in their back pocket now after this experience. Not only are they've created over 30 blockchain projects, as they've said, inside of this little business unit or business segment here. I haven't been able to figure out what those projects entail. Yeah, IBM too, exactly, and they've been using Stellar Lumens at least at the inception. I don't know if they've kept that partnership. I've sort of seen it die down from a news standpoint. But yeah, so Deloitte is huge. Really excited to see this, and I wouldn't be surprised to continue to see more out of the box projects, but it's clear that the one with FEMA is going to be utilized on the Avalanche blockchain. So that's been really cool. And then here's another website here on their blockchain topic. So there's a ton of great articles here from Deloitte on blockchain. And here they have right here on their website, key enterprise Key enterprise blockchain use cases. Record keeping, transfer of value, secured near real-time low-cost transfer of assets without an intermediary. Like, hello, it's happening. Treasury functions are going down. It's on Deloitte's website. You know, if you are a corporate finance executive watching this video and your company does not have any headway on this yet, you should be talking to your consultants. If they're not Deloitte, you can still ask them. They probably know something. But all of this information is out here, and we're trying to pretend like it's not going to happen on an enterprise or corporate level as well. That's going to be what drives the space up the most. Big bank outruns little bank here. Billion-dollar corporations are going to outrun retail here, and they're certainly going to lead the way with these enterprise blockchain use cases. And it's why we invest in VeChain. It's why we invest in XRP. It's why we invest in XLM. It's why we invest in these utility tokens that frankly aren't doing shit right now in comparison to the relative market, because they have potential for a lot of value. We also talked about the fact that with metaverse and play to earn games and some of these other assets going up at the speed they have, how much more steam will they have with Bitcoin's price topping out, and when will they start to fall? I guess you could consider them altcoins, but you know, that's another definition that needs to be had as well. Yeah, people pretend like if they know, yeah, if you just ignore it, it won't happen. I feel like that's what I was doing in May. Like, no problem, it's not going to happen. So yeah, Deloitte's 2021 Global Blockchain Survey. They've been releasing this survey every year, and they sort of derive their results of this survey into financial service institutions overall, financial service pioneers, and then just overall. So these are non-finance institutions, these are financial institutions, and these are pioneers of blockchain in the finance space. So if we get caught on any of these graphs, the blue bars are up because they are the pioneers. So they've probably been ahead of the rest of the space. So just to read over this briefly, I'm not going to read all of this, obviously, but I think this is a great piece for anybody who's interested in blockchain, especially if they're more of a stock or a corporate investor. Great way to see what corporations are saying about blockchain. So in the last year, everything has changed for blockchain, digital assets, and financial services, and not only due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The proliferation of digital everything as both a means of exchange and a store of value has expanded significantly, with a seismic shift impacting the global financial services industry. In particular, that has recently been further challenged by new business models around digital assets. In our 2020 Global Blockchain Survey report, we examined the role and evolution of digital assets and how blockchain-based financial infrastructure could transform banking and financial markets. This year, we focus on respondents from FSI, given the ubiquitous role that the sector plays across the broader economy. Our 2021 survey finds that global FSI leaders see digital assets and their underlying blockchain technologies as a strategic priority now and in the near future. In fact, nearly 80% of overall respondents say that digital assets will be very or somewhat important to their respective industries in the next 24 months. So that's huge. You know, we've gone really fast from crypto's a scam to crypto's not a scam this year. And I think crypto.com and the Staples Centers helped out. I think stuff like this helps out. I think Bitcoin continuing to go up helps out. So the survey polls a sample of 1,280 senior execs and practitioners in 10 locations: Brazil, China mainland, Germany, Hong Kong. Excuse me for not knowing this. With the South Africa Republic, maybe Japan. That's South Africa. I have no idea what this is. Japan, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates. The United Kingdom and the United States. Sorry. Totally butchered those participants. Respondents had at least a general understanding of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and digital assets. So, how do financial executives view blockchain and digital assets? So overall, 80% say it's broadly scalable and has achieved mainstream adoption. 96% of pioneers have. This is huge. The future of digital assets. FSI pioneers are near unanimous about the transformative role that digital assets will play in the future. I believe that digital assets will be very or somewhat important to my industry in the next 24 months. 100% of the pioneers. 100. All right. What role will digital assets have in your organization or project? Custody of digital assets. Obviously, the overall market says less than 50%. So they're not financial services. So, new payment or channel types. A little bit over half on FSI here. Let's see if we have one that's. So this is some of the areas or specific areas that could be playing a part here. I guess one of the lowest scores here is treasury and balance sheet management. I agree with this one being low. You're not going to need any treasury management with this as much. I mean, you're not going to be hedging currencies. You're not going to need a Bloomberg portal to check the price on digital US dollars anymore, because when it's time to do the transaction, you can just do it. So no problem there. I mean, we're going to be significantly cutting payroll there. What are the biggest obstacles to the acceptance and uses of digital assets globally? Cybersecurity, fair. Regulatory barriers, absolutely. Number one. Everybody's like, yeah, the freaking government's going to get in the way, obviously. Privacy. There's no privacy in crypto. Let's just be real. Like, there's not a lot of privacy. You got private keys, but every transaction's pretty much out there. So I don't know what this is really aimed at. You got private keys. Nobody's going to steal your crypto. I was talking to Braulio yesterday. It took him like 3 different ways to verify. He had to do the hokey pokey to do a Bitrue withdrawal yesterday. So, or I don't know what exchange it was on, but you got your password, you got your text message, your Google Authenticator. Like, if they're gonna hack all that, then I guess they're gonna hack all that. So, with that being said, those are some of the risks they're touting here. I really enjoyed this read. I'm just trying not to read all of it to bore you all to death. How will digital assets impact the following aspects of your organization or project? Access to funding sources, liquidity. Bingo. Everybody knows, like, liquidity is number one here. They don't got to wait 1 to 3 days for the Swift ledger system to send them money anymore, because it'll all be here. New revenue streams, interesting. That's an efficiency measure to me. Greater compliance and transparency, absolutely. Faster payments, absolutely. Conclusion: the shift to digital assets is fundamentally changing banking and changing banking fundamentals. On the positive side, 76% of our survey respondents and 85% of FSI pioneers believe that digital assets will help significantly or moderately reduce risk for organizations or projects. But our survey suggests that this optimism is also tempered with caution. Nearly 70% of overall survey respondents identified data security regulation as the greatest need of modification, and 71% identified cyber security. So we went over the risks as well. In general, here's a look at where the respondents came from. Where's SAR? Hong Kong SAR? I didn't know that was Hong Kong SARs. I don't know what that means even. Special Administrative Region. Sounds a little tense. Anyway, so that's a look at that. And to be honest with you, that's all I really had for you guys tonight. I wanted to bring up Deloitte. I wanted to bring up Avalanche's partnership, and I think FEMA partnering with Deloitte is huge. I think that's a big step in the space to work with Avalanche and to get their state and local stuff or information, I should say, on the blockchain. And so, with that being said, it's been great hanging out with you guys tonight and talking about Avalanche and FEMA and Deloitte. Please hit that subscribe button down low. Really appreciate all the new subscribers. I think we've gotten well over 100 in just our first month here with you all, and that's been really phenomenal to see. And so really appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes, the views, the subscriptions, and make sure you tune in tomorrow on the lunch hour and tomorrow on Crypto After Dark, and we will catch you next time. See you later.